The Prelude by William Wordsworth. Book 3. And here, O friend, have I retraced my life up to an eminence, and told a tale of matters which not falsely may be called the glory of my youth, of genius, power, creation, and divinity itself I have been speaking. For my theme has been what passed within me, not of outward things done visibly for other minds, words, signs, symbols, or actions, but of my own heart have I been speaking, and my youthful mind. O heavens, how awful is the might of souls, and what they do within themselves, while yet the yoke of earth is new to them, the world nothing but a wild field where they were sown. This is, in truth, heroic argument, this genuine prowess, which I wished to touch with hand, however weak, but in the main it lies far hidden from the reach of words. Points have we, all of us, within our souls, where all stand single. This I feel, and make breathings for incommunicable powers. But is not each a memory to himself? And therefore, now that we must quit this theme, I am not heartless, for there's not a man that lives who hath not known his godlike hours, and feels not what an empire we inherit as natural beings in the strength of nature. No more, for now into a populous plain we must descend. A traveler I am, whose tale is only of himself. Even so be it, if the pure of heart be prompt to follow, and if thou, my honored friend, who in these thoughts art ever at my side, support, as heretofore, my fainting steps. It hath been told that when the first delight that flashed upon me from this novel show had failed, the mind returned into herself. Yet true it is that I had made a change in climate, and my nature's outward coat changed also slowly and insensibly. Full oft the quiet and exalted thoughts of loneliness gave way to empty noise and superficial pastimes, now and then forced labor, and more frequently forced hopes, and worst of all, a treasonable growth of indecisive judgments that impaired and shook the mind's simplicity. And yet, this was a gladsome time. Could I behold, who, less insensible than sodden clay in a sea river's bed at ebb of tide, could have beheld, with undelighted heart, so many happy youths, so wide and fair a congregation in its budding time of health and hope and beauty, all at once so many diverse samples from the growth of life's sweet season, could have seen unmoved that miscellaneous garland of wild flowers decking the matron temples of a place so famous through the world. To me, at least, it was a goodly prospect, for, in sooth, though I had learnt betimes to stand unpropped, and independent musings pleased me so that spells seemed on me when I was alone, yet could I only cleave to solitude in lonely places. If a throng was near, that way I leaned by nature, for my heart was social, and loved idleness and joy. Not seeking those who might participate my deeper pleasures, nay, I had not once, though not unused to mutter lonesome songs, even with myself divided such delight, or looked that way for aught that might be clothed in human language. Easily I passed from the remembrances of better things, and slipped into the ordinary works of careless youth. Unburthened, unalarmed, caverns there were within my mind which sun could never penetrate, yet did there not want store of leafy arbors where the light might enter in at will. Companionships, friendships, acquaintances were welcome all. We sauntered, played, or rioted. We talked unprofitable talk at morning hours, drifted about along the streets and walks, read lazily in trivial books, went forth to gallop through the country in blind zeal of senseless horsemanship, or on the breast of Cam sailed boisterously, and let the stars come forth, perhaps without one quiet thought. Such was the tenor of the second act in this new life. Imagination slept, and yet not utterly. I could not print ground where the grass had yielded to the steps of generations of illustrious men unmoved. I could not always lightly pass through the same gateways, sleep where they had slept, wake where they had waked, range that enclosure old, that garden of great intellects, undisturbed. Place also by the side of this dark sense of noble feeling that those spiritual men, even the great Newton's own ethereal self, seemed humbled in these precincts, thence to be the more endeared. Their several memories here, even like their persons in their portraits clothed with the accustomed garb of daily life, put on a lowly and a touching grace of more distinct humanity that left all genuine admiration unimpaired. Beside the pleasant mill of Trompington, I laughed with Chaucer in the hawthorn shade, heard him, while birds were warbling, tell his tales of amorous passion, and that gentle bard, chosen by the muses for their page of state, sweet Spenser, moving through his clouded heaven with the moon's beauty and the moon's soft pace. I called him brother, Englishman, and friend. Ye, our blind poet who, in his later day, stood almost single, uttering odious truth, darkness before, and danger's voice behind, soul awful, if the earth has ever lodged an awful soul. I seem to see him here familiarly, and in his scholar's dress, bounding before me, yet a stripling youth, a boy, no better, with his rosy cheeks, angelical, keen eye, courageous look, and conscious step of purity and pride. Among the band of my compeers was one whom chance had stationed in the very room honored by Milton's name. O temperate bard, be it confessed that, for the first time, seated within thy innocent lodge and oratory, one of a festive circle, I poured out libations, to thy memory drank, till pride and gratitude grew dizzy in a brain never excited by the fumes of wine before that hour or since. Then forth I ran from the assembly, through a length of streets, ran ostrich-like to reach our chapel door, in not a desperate or opprobrious time, albeit long after the importunate bell had stopped, with wearisome Cassandra voice no longer haunting the dark winter night. Call back, O friend, a moment to thy mind, the place itself and fashion of the rites, with careless ostentation, shouldering up my surplice. Through the inferior throng I clove of the plain burghers, who in audience stood on the last skirts of their permitted ground under the pealing organ. Empty thoughts, I am ashamed of them. And that great bard, and thou, O friend, who in thy ample mind hast placed me high above my best deserts, yet will forgive the weakness of that hour in some of its unworthy vanities, brother to many more.